Good morning. Okay, here we are in the beautiful Rainbow Park on Thursday morning. We're going to do Earth Center movement class. So the introduction for today is the nervous system. If you can think of part of yourself that's not connected to your nervous system, that would be very interesting. Sometimes I think that we somehow are our nervous system. So anyway, this is an interesting concept to ruminate about another time. Um, What we know about the nervous system kind of generally is it has two branches, the autonomic and the voluntary. And the autonomic branch has also two divisions, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So in the Earth-centered movement, we're navigating this concept consciously because let's say you want to relax, okay? So if you feel tense, you consciously feel into the tension, right? And you may notice, oh, I can soften some tension, maybe my shoulders or my breath, and let go of your belly or your butt or your back. Something might be tight, and you actually have the ability through your voluntary nervous system to relax it. There may be tension that exists in that other branch, the involuntary system, and your conscious seeking for that tension is not going to take you anywhere because the tension is created through an interruption in the sensory motor system. Thomas Hanna would call that sensory motor amnesia. So our voluntary system can only take us to a certain level of relaxation. And it's within the lessons that we're going to do in a moment here that we're going to find a way to well, we could call it hacking the system, but it's really not an abrupt kind of concept like that. We're going to be more like gentling ourselves into easing this hard to reach tension. Okay, and a lot of it has to do with paying attention. Okay, so we're going to ease the tension through paying attention. It's a good way to think about it. So in the involuntary system, there's the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. Some people think about them as one end or the other of the spectrum, but really it's like two pendulums. We need both of these systems to be able to swing in their to do their job, right? We need them to be able to freely move from being turned down to turned up. In modern technological society, the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight or freeze system, that seems to generally be pegged a little bit pathologically even into overdrive, right? It's stuck on, and it's a big problem, actually. The parasympathetic system is what we could call the rest and the digest and the repair mechanism, and this is the also the part of the nervous system that dictates how well our immune system functions. Okay, so as soon as the sympathetic nervous system is engaged to protect us from an imminent threat, from real threat, or perceived threat, and often is the case, the priority of the immune system is lowered. We don't need to get to heal ourselves from an illness if there's an imminent threat, and so the extremities, the muscles of the extremities are prioritized over the organs. Okay, so we need to run away from something. So the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system that helps us heal, it can be nurtured or cared for by us feeling trust in our lives, by us feeling or having experience of nature, by having significant relationships, by having financial security, and affection. And sometimes that's not easy to get all of those attributes in our lives. So we really want to kind of take an inventory and see how are we doing in providing nutrition to the parasympathetic nervous system. At the same time, we want to see what kind of energy are we giving to the sympathetic nervous system that maybe we don't have to, right? Let's talk about one very basic aspect, which is breathing. So in the sympathetic nervous system, people are going to generally want to be gasping for air, right? So that'll be mouth breathing. You're running away. You're like having to, that probably looked really funny. You're going to be taking in more air and generally pumping it into your mouth. In the parasympathetic side, we want to be increasing nitric oxide. We want to be not over breathing, not getting towards a hyperventilated state. So we're going to breathe through the nose, okay? Just a very gentle breath. You try to breathe as slowly as you can. It will train your body to need less oxygen. It will train you to be less in that sympathetic tone and more in the parasympathetic tone. So we're going to start some really basic movements right now. We're going to do this. You could be seated in a chair, and for a lot of people that's going to be really comfortable. So just a regular, no arms is better. If you can find a nice firm chair, just like a kitchen table chair. You're going to be sitting in that chair with a nice straight back, okay? So you're not going to be leaning into the back of the chair. You're going to be sitting away from the back of the chair. And you're going to do your best to keep the pelvic bowl, right, or this area of your hips that's outlined by your belt line, horizontal. So it's not tipping forward and spilling out this way, and it's not tipped backward and spilling out that way. Okay, it's pretty much right in the middle. And from this position, right, you're going to want to keep your shoulders over the hip, and you're going to try and keep your ears over your shoulders. So we're looking to see that you're not slouched in this way, right? It's like there's these hinges. There's a hinge here, here, and here. So you might just have your head tipped, you might just have your chest dropped, or you might have your pelvis tipped. Generally, it's all three of those that we have to keep aware of, because posture and balance is not a fixed state. It's not a rigid concept, right? It actually is movement. So it's this idea where in stillness, right, when you're standing still, if you're balanced, you're actually moving, and you can feel that. So from this position, if I begin to lift the occiput up, flattening out the back of the neck, I'll feel a lengthening happening along the back of the neck. And the way I'm accomplishing that is by creating some tension in these diagonal muscles that reach across the front. And if I practice that for a minute, it's like nodding. It's like saying yes, but we're not really going back. We're only going down. So we're not doing the up part, we're just doing the down part. It's like a half a yes. Now, as we feel this movement, you start to sense that it can also be pulling the shoulders back this way. And then if you allow that sensation or that impulse to continue, you'll notice that there's a little bit of an arch happening in the back, okay? So the back muscles begin to tighten. So I start with this hinge here. Then the chest opens up because I'm starting to draw back the shoulders. The lumbodorsal hinge starts to move forward because I'm tightening through the middle of the back. And finally, the pelvis begins to tip forward because I'm tightening in the low back. So I'm going from neutral to arch back and flat neck. Arch back, flat neck. Flat neck, arch back. Ease back to neutral. Raise the occiput up. this particular movement, this is what initiates the movement, lifting the occiput. And the rest of the movement flows down from there. Now, you're going to notice in a while that it does not seem sequential, that the movement is all one organic flow. So just keep moving and make the movement a little bigger, a little more pronounced. And you can stop and take a breath of rest. So what you're going to notice through this movement is that there's a coordination of movements that starts with it starts in the beginning. We're just picking this point as the beginning point. It could have been that we started here and we move up. It's just a different movement. But what we're doing is we're training. We're breaking a pattern, okay? We're trying to do something new so that we can leave this voluntary nervous system and move towards the involuntary nervous system. And by learning something new, we engage the sensory motor cortex in such a way that especially in the relaxation phase after the movement, it gives us a greater sense of a heightened sensitivity, yeah? And so in that moment, when we exhale and we relax, we have opportunity to relax further than we were before, right? So beyond where the involuntary system had us held. Let's just do the same thing on the floor. Bring your chin towards your chest by dragging the occiput up the floor. And just feel that tension line where you're lengthening the back by shortening the front. And as you do that, you're going to notice it has some bearing on a sensation in your arms, in the back of your arms against the ground. Okay? So just feel as you lengthen the back of your neck, basically flattening and lengthening the back of your neck. There's a little bit of pressure going down into the shoulder blades. And that pressure down in the shoulder blades, if you keep going with that, you're going to notice a lifting in the lower back. And we're just going to go with that now. Flatten the neck. Push the shoulders down. Arch the back. Exhale, ease off. Flatten the back of the neck. Press down the shoulders. Arch the back. Inhaling. Exhaling to ease yourself back to neutral. Be careful to control that movement. Inhale, arch. Exhale, neutral. Inhale, arch. Keep going. Keep arching. Keep pressing. Exhale, neutral. Now, when we exhale neutral, we're not relaxing. We're placing ourselves back to neutral. Inhale, arch. So we go from this very tight, firm contraction of the back of the body, and we ease it slowly back to the neutral state. So there's a different kind of contraction happening right now. Okay, we're going to do that again this time. Going to inhale, arch. Exhale, flatten. We're going to bring ourselves back to neutral, and then we're going to go past neutral to the opposite direction where the back begins to flatten, the belly begins to tighten, and the back of the neck begins to arch. And now we're going to inhale from this position, noticing where neutral is, passing neutral, back into the arch, back, flat neck, shoulders back. And now we're exhaling, the back flattens, the neck arches, and the arms roll in. Inhale, easing back to neutral, arching the back, flattening the neck, rolling the arms outward, pressing down. So the whole back of the body is tight, and now it eases back to neutral, exhaling through the nose, flattening the lower back, arching the neck, rolling the arms inward, reaching down against the feet. Now inhaling, arching, flattening the neck, pressing the arms down, rolling the hands outward, really getting into express this movement, wrists pressing, and then easing yourself back to neutral, exhaling slowly through the nose. Flat back, arch neck, arms rolling in, hands moving towards the feet. Inhaling just now back to neutral. Let the legs go back to straight. Take a couple of breaths of rest. In that rested position, any sensation of relaxation is important to capture, to notice, to even luxuriate in, really absorb it and enjoy it. Find out in your body where you have more ability to relax now. It's through this squeezing and unsqueezing, it gives us, it kind of cleans our sensory system. It makes it more sensitive, right? So we can pay more attention to the tension. And so now it's your job to just scan through your body and see where you can let go more. So now we're back to the voluntary side. Can I let go in my upper body? Can I let go in the belly? Can I let go in the butt? And especially through the pelvic floor. It's a really important place where tension becomes initiated. Just let that whole system go. It's connected to the mouth. It's two ends of the tube. It's just how it is. We're going to do just a little bit of lesson 2 movement now, which is a back lifting exercise. I'm just going to show you one so we can get to the standing work. Okay, so it works like this. You're going to have one arm beside you, one arm folded underneath like this, so you're resting on the back of your hand. We're going to very slowly lift, looking over the shoulder, and lift the opposite leg. Keep this other arm relaxed the best you can, and ease yourself down. It's not an easy movement. It's not a hard movement. So let's keep everything nice and firm as we lift. When we come down, we're going to take a full breath of rest. So we're inhaling through the nose to go up. Come on up, inhale. Looking slightly over the shoulder. Pause. Exhale, descend. Keep it smooth and slow. When you're completely down, Breath of rest, in, out. So by the time you do 2 or 3, you're ready to really feel the movement, really get into it. Take a breath in. Lifting. Hold. Descend. Smooth, slow descent. Notice everything that relaxes now as you give yourself back to the earth. Take a second breath of rest and really soften. Let's just do one more. Inhale up. Exhale down. After you take your breath of rest, really let yourself sink into the ground. You have a moment here, you have a window of opportunity to ease the tension that exists under the radar of the voluntary nervous sensory system. The habit of this tension would like to take over, but you have a moment now to let it go. And let's go ahead and switch. Inhale up. And roll it on over. Take a breath of rest here. Let yourself settle into the ground. Go ahead, bend the knees. Put your feet pretty wide apart so that when you bend over to the side, this knee nestles into the instep of the opposite foot. It's a really gentle way to get up. Okay? So the rest of the way we're going to come on, stand up the best you can. If there's a way that you can do your standing so that your head comes up last, so a simple way is just to go to all fours. Push yourself back into a squat and then roll yourself up. So we're going to do just a couple of fascial opening movements, okay? So if you can do this every day, either in the morning or at night, fantastic. So we're going to start nice and slow. So just pick a hand that is the raising hand and hold on to it with the other hand. So in the beginning here, you're just going to practice lifting. We're going to add the instructions as we go. Switch hands, lift. So the way we lift and switch is we're actually pressing up with the one hand, but then we're actually pulling with the second hand, okay? So that's part of it. And switch. We're breathing in and out the nose nice and gently. Exhaling up, inhaling down. So we're inhaled in the middle and relaxed, and now we're exhaling, pressing. Okay, now, next time, inhale down, Exhaling up, press the toes into the ground. Beautiful. Inhaling, back down, switching. Toes are softened, exhaling up. Press the toes into the ground, tighten the legs, push the arms up, inhale back. So we're switching each time. We're using the toes first, that's to anchor our ground, exhaling, pushing up with the straight arm, pulling with the other arm, tightening the butt, inhaling back. The longer you can breathe, the more you can get into the detail. You're going to notice when I go this way, I'm going to have to really tighten in the side here. And the way the feet are pressing into the ground, switching, exhaling up, you're going to notice one foot tightens more. Exhaling up, tightening the feet, tightening the side, tightening the butt. Go back and forth one time. Don't forget to keep lifting, lifting, lifting as you press down, down, down. Really press your foot into the ground. The one that you notice is pressing more, press it, press it. Let's float out of that. In the beginning, that movement is a shoulder mobility, right? Because we're just starting here. But as we progress, the movement opens the line of fascia that goes all the way down to your hip, and then it continues up into the ITT band, right? It goes all the way into the feet. So we're trying to not just bend over, right? We don't want the hips to go that way too much. We're trying to stay lifting with the hand and pushing down with the foot, and that creates a little bit of a side bend and a little bit of a turn. So you'll ultimately be able to feel that tension line all the way up the back and side of the body. Next movement, again, it starts as a shoulder mobility, so we're just going to hook one arm behind the head. Keep your toes firmly planted into the ground so that you're not wiggling your pelvis too much. This is going to stay firm. We're going to just move the torso. Keep breathing easy. Reverse when you're ready. Breathe easy. So the place where this is more difficult is in the side, not in the front. The front's kind of easy to lean into. This side, yeah, and the back going, yeah. So there's different places where you're going to feel the tension build. And we're going to float out of that, and we're going to reverse. So wherever for you, you feel that snag. Now it might be up here to start, so then you're going to put some attention there. Keep the toes firm into the ground. That'll also mean that your butt's tight also. And then you're going to find the places that feel like you want to linger a little bit. So maybe right here, maybe right here. Then it's a little easier there, but maybe here it's a little bit more. Yeah, and come out of that. Shake your arms out. We're going to hold one arm across the front of the body, hooked on behind the elbow with the other. Now, again, this starts as a shoulder mobility, but now we're going to roll the shoulder blade out from the spine as we turn the opposite direction. 1. Breathing, exhaling this way. 2. Inhaling back to neutral. Exhaling. 1 more. Inhale, center, neutral. Press the toes into the ground, firm. So we're initiating a core stabilization from the toe, mainly the big toe, but we'll just call it all the toes, okay? So that's the beginning of core stabilization, toes down. And then that line comes up to the pelvic floor, gut and butt, And that provides a stable base for us to do our movements, okay? So that's generally going to be on exhale because part of the core is the diaphragm. So if I've locked the diaphragm, right, that's an exhaling movement. If I try to inhale with this area firm, it doesn't work as well. Switch. Take a breath in. Press the toes. Shoulder blade moves out from the spine. The head turns the opposite way. We try to stay tall. Exhaling. Inhale back. Try to keep this arm straight as opposed to bent. Inhale. Toes down. Exhale. Turn. Inhale back. One more time. Press. Exhale. Unwind. It's good to kind of reset everything, okay? So we shake the arms a little bit. These are primarily fascia release movements, but they have a neurological component to them. So that's why we're moving slowly, and we're taking time between each movement to see how we feel relaxed, okay? So we're kind of blending a couple of different methods of movement. Okay, next, hands are out to the side. Go ahead, pick a hand that flips down. So now we're going to just practice rotating the arms opposite direction. So begin to keep the feet, start to firm them into the ground, okay? So that as you begin to turn the arms more vigorously, yeah? So really accentuating the turn, even into the fingertips, you're going to notice your shoulder blades are going to respond. One's going to go back, one's going to go forward, right? The more I do it, you're going to maybe notice your chin is going to tip to one side. So just follow the impulse. Turn arms, 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 arms. Now the shoulders go, now the head goes. Now just go into it, surrender into that movement. Tighten the feet into the ground, exhale. Inhale back. Softening everything. Tighten the toes, exhale. Turn, arms, 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 chin, head. Beautiful. Inhale back. Soften everything. Toes down. Begin to exhale. Twist the arms. Feel the impulse to turn the head. Tighten the back of the body. Inhale forward. Soften the toes. Exhale. Tighten the toes. Twist the arms. One more time, back and forth. Inhale. Now exhale. Twist. Turn. Press. Inhale back. Soften. Exhale. Twist. Turn. Press. Linger. Inhale back. Float out. Shake the arms. Okay, last movement for this little session. Stay as aligned as you can. So ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, ears. Okay? I'm just going to reach down a leg and up a leg. Let that ear stay over the shoulder. So we're not dropping forward. We're trying to stay as aligned. Okay, so once we understand the very simple movement, we're going to linger in this position and pull. Slowly come up. Glide through the middle, soft, easy part. Go down, linger, pull. Slowly use that core stability to bring yourself up. Okay, here we go. Down. Pull it down. Push your toes down and lift yourself up. Beautiful. Glide down. Pull. Press the toes. Bring yourself up. Glide down. Pull. Press your toes down. Pick yourself up. So we're using the core to lift again. So we're going to glide down. Okay. Pull. Press the toes down and lift yourselves up out of that. That's your inhale. Here's your exhale. Glide down. Pull. Press the toes. Nice. One more time, back and forth. Glide. Pull. Lift. Shake it out. Okay, so All in all, even with me yakking, that didn't take very long, about a half hour. So you could fast forward through the introduction and you'd have yourself a very short and sweet somatic release, lesson 1 and 2, and fascia release, standing moves. And that will be very helpful for calming the nervous system, for creating a greater sense of ease and movement, for encouraging a relaxed breathing through the nose, increasing the immune system function by favoring parasympathetic tone and easing down sympathetic tone. So I hope you got some good results from this and that you have interest to continue. Look at the other videos, see if there's ones that you like. You can also send me messages and see if you want certain kinds of movements. I will try and keep these videos coming. Certainly nice to come out into the park and share them with you. All right, aloha.